Hello everyone, and welcome back. This is Soups here. First things first, you may notice that we now have some ambient music in the background, which I am going to turn down just a little bit, so you guys can actually hear me. Today we are going to be focusing on doing a follow-up to my last video, this time not in MS Paint, but instead we're on the unofficial VoxlBlade Trello, which I have contributed to. Now, we're here because, as comments have said, there are a lot of misinformation and facts that I have gotten blatantly, if not completely incorrect. Like, for instance, the Great Sword skill being a spin attack that is a massive AoE spin, and it increases your defense and physical boost. Another thing, yes, all the swords have passive stats, and they scale with physical damage and magical damage depending on the type of sword. And, that means that, with all of these swords, there is a lot to cover, but, for starters, we are going to go over the ones that I didn't really explain in detail, like the short sword. For starters, nobody really knows much about the short sword, so unfortunately there isn't much in the way of, well, there isn't really much in the way of, abilities, passive stats, anything like that. Next up is the Sharp Dagger, which turns out doesn't function identically, as far as I can tell. Wait, never mind. Bear in mind I'm doing this in one take, and this is some stuff I haven't even looked at before, so please bear with me here. Like, for instance, for instance, the Poison Dagger also has a combo extender, but this time the combo extension actually deals poison for 5 takes, which scales with physical damage, which is absolutely insane. Now, moving on, there is the what swords have I not covered? I didn't really cover the Buster Sword or the shield all that well. Well, the shield I did cover. It does have a stunning AoE effect that taunts nearby mobs. And this is extremely useful for tank builds because it draws off aggro from most NPCs and allows you to take damage for other people. Next, the Buster Sword has a massive AoE spin that is a direct upgrade to the Great Sword's active ability, which scales with the heavy attack's passive. If the user lands a heavy attack on an enemy or player, the user's M1 will be faster for 10 seconds, and the combo can go on forever until the passive is gone and or the user is interrupted. The passive is indicated by glowing particles that emit from the player, and this is just demonstration, as seen with the GIFs. And as you can see, it makes Buster Sword absolutely amazing for high damage DPS builds. Moving on, we got the longer sword, which, there isn't much known about this weapon either, since it's an underused weapon, as with most. While, just making sure to see if there's any other weapons I haven't really covered in detail. I think I got every single one. Now, moving on, I wanted to discuss specific builds. This is the second half of the video, and it's something that I wanted to address because I know for a fact there are going to be some people who are going to be like, okay, so what build do I want to go for if I like this sword and want this sword? You know? So it's a little bit disconcerting. So so I'm going to try to answer that right now here, and in order to do so, I am going to talk about, for starters, let's look at we're going to divide these by categories. we're going to go with, we're going to have the, we're going to have the, this, we're going to have the long blade, we're going to have the long blade, the dagger, and any of its variations, the sharp sword and some of its variations, as well as magic, holy, and hex, respectively. So, for starters, what would be the best build for a tank? Now, the best build for a tank is highly debatable and subjective based on how much damage... based on how much, based on what guild you went for. Now, guild armor, you will be given a guild armor set upon joining certain guilds, such as Flux Mage or Gladiator. And if you want to reset the forging on the guild's armor, you can join another guild without much requirements and delete said armor set that have the forging. Moving on, we have... the best guild for something like this is going for the Gladiator Guild because its passive increases your physical boost an immense amount, which increases your damage extensively, as well as your speed, which makes it, as well as granting you a buffed rage mode. And this means that, you can stack it with the Rage Rune for even more DPS. And this makes it really good for weapons like the Buster Sword. And as such, if you pair a Gladiator with with its armor set, along with some Bloodsteel applied to it, which I'll show over here. Now, Bloodsteel. Bloodsteel drops from Iron Slayers, which makes it extremely difficult to get your hands on, but the buffs are insane, seen here. And this can make it extremely practical. Now, if you want to be able to tank all kinds of damage, the best advice for you is to apply Pollen to your Gladiator armor instead, which will buff your magic defense by 15% for each piece, giving you up to 45% magic defense, which is certainly enough to be able to tank a couple hits from your typical mage. Moving on, we have the Sharp Sword and all of its variations. As for Jacks of all trades, the best option depends on your reputation. Now, if you're going for something like, if you're going for something that attacks a little quicker, I'd probably go with the Gladiator. If you're going for something that's more, if you're going for a build with the Sharp Sword that's a little bit more in-your-face offensive and less and more offensive-minded, then definitely go for the Gladiator armor. Now, if you're going for something that is a little bit more... I need to find it here. Where is it? If you're going for something a little bit more defensive, I advise going for the Knight armor, as it will give you a nice physical boost, as well as giving you some nice overall defense, while also lowering your speed ever so slightly. Another bonus is that it grants you a massive cold resistance, which means that you can tank any sort of tundra shenanigans that occur while you're exploring said location. Moving on, let's look at the daggers for some of the best sets for those. Now, Dagger has two real different paths that determine what you want to go for. Now, typically, one of the best ones that you should go for, if you're looking for making a very hardcore, thiefy kind of build, I would go personally for either the Gunslinger armor, if you are going for the Poison Dagger, or if you're going for the Scythe, I would go for the Reaper Ninja set, if I can find it. Where is it? It's on the tip of my tongue. I know it's somewhere. Now, the Reaper Ninja set, it boosts Hex, physical defense, as well as gives you a physical boost, as well as increasing your speed. This makes it a perfect armor set for the Sickle, because it allows you to actually capitalize on the abilities of Scythe. And Scythe's ability it deals, it scales with both Hex and Physical, but it primarily deals Hex damage. This makes it extremely effective because nobody ever expects to take Hex damage. And this makes it extremely powerful as a result. Now, if we are to move on, Fist, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can either go for the water set, which I believe is right here, and this will buff you greatly if worn as a Fist class. And once you go from the first tier up to one of these two variations, your next best bet is to start going for the Oni Armor. Now, the Oni Armor is extremely difficult to get your hands on, as it requires 4,000 Voxos, as well as forcing you to join the Demon Brawler Guild. And in order to do so, you have to get either of the Tier 1 Fist upgrades, be level 40, and have negative 100 reputation. And supposedly, according to the theory is that depending on your reputation, the chance that you will get the Oni Armor will increase. And it has to be negative reputation. And this armor set, its main purpose, you have unlike other armor sets, you have a chance to acquire it instead of, you know, it being guaranteed to. Like, if you went into a shop and went to go buy some gemstone armor or some other armor, yeah, you're going to get the armor, obviously. But for Oni, it's entirely different, because when you go over to the Oni armor set and purchase it, it'll give you a prompt saying that you will have a chance to get this armor. So it's not 100% guaranteed, and as such, it's really a grind in order to be able to get your hands on this armor set. However, once you buy one piece, I believe you can buy the rest of the set for free. Moving on. Scrolling up here. Let's start with magic. Now, the best set for magic is probably Flux Mage, because Flux Mage is just, it's really good. If you have any experience with any sort of magic, if you have any sort of experience with like rhythm games or timing your attacks, Flux Mage is perfect for you, because its Q ability grants you the ability to create a mana pulse that if you time your attacks with the mana pulse as it enters your body, it will buff your damage immensely. Now, moving on to things like the Hex Sword. The Hex Blade, due to its underused nature, the best armor set I'd use would probably be the Shadow Dweller set. Now, this is debatable because obviously there's better ways to get really good Hex boosts, like the Soulless Armor, as well as other stuff like of that nature. However, I still objectively believe that the Soulless Armor is very difficult to get your hands on anyways, so it might be more advisable to go for the Shadow Dweller set just for starters. Now, moving on to the Holy set, the best armor set for a Cleric build would 100% be the Chronomaster set. The reason why is because it gives you a whopping Holy boost of 150%, as well as a boost to your speed and jump boost to massive proportions, which will make it seem as if you're walking in 0G. And this means that you can very, very easily get away with going all over the map and not really having much issues with navigation, along with being able to dodge people's attacks in combat situations, which makes it ideal for Cleric builds. Now, of course, as for a guild, you're going to want to go for the Cleric Guild, which grants you the massive AoE heal that has a cooldown of 45 seconds and scales with both Holy and Magic with positive reputation. Now, finally, let's focus on, wait, did I cover everything? I kind of did. That being said, I guess we'll just say that's all for now. I just want to make a quick follow-up, as well as describe some potential builds and answer a couple questions that people had about various weapons and clear up some misconceptions that I made in my last video. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.